I go to school when I can, so I'll read my homework out loud to him.
Oh, and he likes that?
And he really enjoys it.
What
I
are you
did that when I
studying
was
in
pregnant.
school?
Biology.
Oh, wow.
So when I was pregnant with him, I would just read him my homework. But he
Yeah,
really
he
loves
likes
big
it.
words. Science.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
He loves science.
And it's his birthday.
In May.
The month that we're featuring him. It's April now, but in May, he'll be how old? 6 on
May 11th.
May
You'll
11th.
be a big old
Big
boy.
birthday.
A loving father, a dedicated mother, and a brave son. This is today's story. My name is Seth Carnell, and this is the Go Shout Love podcast. One simple adjective for each person really isn't enough to describe this family. Today we are talking with Stevon and Marissa, who are the parents to Elijah, an intelligent and loving boy who will turn 6 years old this month. Elijah has many diagnoses, which include Lennox Gastaut Syndrome, a rare gene mutation, infantile spasms, and more. You will learn a lot about Elijah in this episode, beginning with his love of nature documentaries and books, and of course you'll also learn about his complicated medical journey. On a personal note, having had the privilege of meeting Elijah, his smile lights up a room. One thing to add before we begin. We touch on a topic that we haven't really focused on much in the past, and that's the mental health of these parents who have kids on rare medical journeys. Marissa brings up an important topic as she speaks about Elijah's diagnosis and how it is labeled as terminal. That's not an easy word and not a word that we bring up lightly. It is a word that causes extreme stress and induces many emotions, thoughts, and feelings for these parents. We're very grateful to both Marissa and Stevon for being open with us about what they are going through. In this interview is our executive director, Josh Veach, our family relations director and talented photographer, Jessica Santo. There's an oxygen machine in the background, and you will also hear from Elijah's nurse. Apologies, she wasn't mic'd up, but we did our best cleaning it up so that you can hear her input. Remember, you can shout love for Elijah all month long, and I'll go ahead and say it, it's his birthday this month. So let's shout some extra love on this kid and his family. Go to our website, goshout.love, and get yourself something from our store, including this month's t-shirt, which is an incredible t-shirt. And let's give Elijah his best birthday yet.
How did you guys meet?
Well, our kind of our, yeah. Just go ahead.
My grandpa and his grandpa were best friends.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my grandpa had passed away, so she basically gave her condolences, and then we met randomly another time after that, and then we're like, well, let's go on a date. And then we got to have the best kid ever, huh, dude?
Awesome.
Yeah. So our parents have known each other for a long time, and our grandparents also. So,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So your families are close.
kind of, they used to be, but
You guys know each other?
yeah.
Yeah. You talking? You telling them some stories?
Oh my. Okay.
Oh, you got a clear throat, bro.
You need your suction here. Are we good?
Yeah, maybe just right here, just in case.
You good though? Right now we're good.
That suction is the best thing.
Yeah, it helps him.
Yeah.
It's a necessity for him. Thanks, Gina.
Your weight. Here you go, child. Anything else, sir? He's my boss. You are.
So you guys have been on this journey for almost 6 years. And did you guys find out when you were pregnant that there was some things going on with him?
Just his club feet.
Just
We
the club
didn't know
feet?
anything else. His birth was pretty traumatic. He stopped breathing while he was still inside when I was in labor, and there was meconium. So she told me if I didn't get him out now that he was not going to survive. So they helped with forceps. The cord was wrapped pretty tight. He had a pretty bad bruise on the left side of his neck. So he came out not breathing and blue, so they had to resuscitate him.
Was he not breathing because of the umbilical cord?
They said from the stress.
Oh.
So they cut it off really fast and then basically just tossed him to the pediatrician because he just was not breathing.
Mm.
And because of the meconium, they were worried about that. But then you were finally breathing and everything was okay.
Yeah, it took about 6 month mark. We were getting kind of weird vibes, and we felt like something wasn't right. And the doctor kind of told us it's too early from the neurology report that to tell if he was having the seizures. And then as he developed a little bit further, then it was for sure that's what was happening. And then it became a pretty steady, constant, just uphill battle from then.
Is that his biggest battle, is his seizures?
Mm-hmm.
So he had a few EEGs before he was officially diagnosed, and they were just inconclusive, which just meant that they couldn't say he was having seizures, but they couldn't say that he wasn't. So the issue is just, being here in New Mexico, they rarely see things like that here.
Oh, really?
So when he was diagnosed around 8 months old, it's a rare form of epilepsy, infantile spasms. They referred us out of state because they just didn't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So since he was about 8-9 months old, we've been going to Denver pretty frequently.
Yeah, for about 2 years we're going every 3 months. Well, it was every month almost, it seemed like, and then it was every 3 months, and then it went to every 6 months.
Are you flying or driving?
Driving.
Yeah, because you have to take him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have to
And
take
How long
all
of a
of
drive is it?
We'd be up there for a month, maybe 2
Wow.
weeks.
Which that makes it hard to do anything else.
Keep a steady job.
Yeah.
Or,
And
a
you're
lot
in
of different
school
stuff.
too.
Right now I'm not, but when I'm able to and he's doing well health-wise,
You
I
get
still
back
take
in.
classes. Right now I'm just working from home and then taking care of him because I'm home all the time.
And then Stevon, what do you do outside the home?
I work as an electrician
Oh, awesome.
and just stay home with this guy
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah,
Wow.
so about 8:30 to 4:30 or 5, and then we come home and
How does he sleep at night?
it just depends, because on days if he's feeling healthy, he'll actually want to hang out.
Oh, yeah.
So he'll start waking us up, or we'll be happy too because he's feeling good. So
What do you guys
And-
usually do? Watch documentaries about the
sometimes he likes to
ocean?
talk at night. We'll talk for like 2 hours.
Oh.
Well, sometimes he has hard nights, really difficult nights, and then it'll take weeks to recover from 3 or 4 nights,
Yeah.
or last week it was about a week and a half long. He was just on a really downhill pattern, and then for the past 4 days he's been feeling a lot better, but me
The
and
seizures
mom
take so
were
much
probably
out of him?
sleeping
Is
like
that-
4 hours a night, maybe 3,
wow.
maybe. And same for him, he wasn't asleep because we like to sleep right when he sleeps and pattern with him.
Yeah.
His seizures typically occur when he's waking up, so waking up from a nap or waking up from sleep at night. So the past 2 weeks, I was kind of worried about this week because I didn't know how he was going to do, but the past 2 weeks, they were just really rough on him. He was having a lot of cyanotic seizures where he stops breathing and turns blue.
What do you guys do when that happens?
So we have to wait till the 3-minute mark, and at the 3-minute mark, we can give midazolam, which will help to bring him out of it, but we kind of just have to talk to him and watch him while he does it.
That has to be really hard.
It is.
Yeah, turn up his oxygen all the way and give as much support to his chest as we can, because
Sternal
he's so
rubs.
fragile, and so he can't really get full CPR in his chest. And just try and talk to him, because we know that he's there, and make sure he knows that he has people here and he's not alone.
How do you guys get through something like that when you're in the moment? Do you just go on kind of autopilot where you just do all your things?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We laugh sometimes. We'll like jump from sounds or like a beeping on this, and we'll just be like, that's funny, but it's actually not that funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny in
Obviously-
your world.
Yeah.
Obviously, you didn't get there overnight. Like, this became a new adjustment that comes natural. But how long did it take for it to go from every time you had any sort of concern or something was happening? I'm sure that had to be really stressful. How did you transition into this just kind of becoming?
Marissa's always been a really diligent mom. So when all these things occurred, And just when me and her would talk about it and we were having weird vibes about everything, she was just on the doctor's heads and calling them, and we were going for tests, and we're like, no, we know something's wrong. You need it. And they're like, no. And we're like, no. And so she would call every day, and she still does to this day. When medicine's going to be late, or yesterday, appointments weren't approved, so she was calling them all day. You know, she's very instinctive right off the bat.
Yeah.
I'm always on the phone with someone every single week, whether it's the pharmacy, the doctors, insurance.
That's a full-time job in and of itself.
A home health company, and then I'm still working at the same time, so I have to like try and take breaks from work to assess what I need to for him, because he's the most important thing.
Sure.
But I think it came to me pretty quickly, and I think for Stevon too. I mean, if something happens and it's new, it's scary at first, but then if he does it again, to me, I'm kind of just like, okay, well, this is going to become something normal, so I have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no other option, no other choice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, it has to get done, because he depends on us.
Yeah.
He's
Stevon,
100%
you mentioned
dependent.
I think it was around the 6-month mark, you kind of said there was you just had some different vibes that you were getting about what was going on. What actions did you take at that time to act on those instincts?
Well, we consulted with our parents also, because they've had a lot of children, and we're like, is this normal? And, you know, we didn't want to freak each other out. And they also agreed with us, and we supported each other. And when we got to the doctor, we supported each other when whatever doctor it may have been kind of deterred our skepticism. You know, we'd say no, and then we would just support it, so that we put that wall up. We're not gonna. This is we're serious. We're the parent. We know.
Yeah.
I know you're very, very smart.
Kind of sticking with your guns on.
A lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
And that has to be hard too, with you guys being first-time parents, feeling
Young
like
parents. I was 22, he was 23.
Oh well,
so.
yeah. Wow.
And it's our first child, so it was just really hard. His pediatrician did notice around 2 months that he was having staring spells, so she thought they were seizures, but she wasn't 100% sure. So that's when she started referring us to neurology in Albuquerque, because Santa Fe, we don't have anything here, really. It's a small town, so not a lot of doctors. I mean, if we have to take him to the hospital, we have to drive an hour to Albuquerque because they don't have a neurology clinic here. So we have to immediately just take him to Albuquerque because they have a teaching hospital and they have everything that they would possibly need for him.
And they actually misdiagnosed him early. And when we went up to Denver, they were like, no, they had it right. They should have given him this medicine since the last 3 months or something. And they're like, oh my God.
So they diagnosed him with
So then we're like, we're never
spasms.
going, but we're just going up to Denver from now on. Forget it. You know?
Yeah, they diagnosed him with infantile spasms in Albuquerque, and then his seizures changed so drastically that they thought they misdiagnosed. So they took away the steroids, which is actually what is needed to help those severe seizures. And then something it still wasn't sitting right with me, so I just kept asking them and pushing them, and then they finally said, well, we'll refer you to Denver. And when we went there, his first neurologist said they should have never taken him off the steroids because he was properly diagnosed, and that is what was treating him, helping him so much.
And it was a completely different realm because he was like writing the new neurology textbook to be released for neurology students, and just a completely different trust with somebody's knowledge over there. And, you know, for parents who are skeptical like that too, would be a good way to go, is go for the smartest people you can possibly get, because you might not know within this small box that that's not the only answer for you.
Yeah.
Or for your child, you know.
Well, it's probably difficult. Trust is a tough thing anyway, but to trust your child's life into people that you don't know, and you're trusting that they are experts, but then when you go through a situation where the system kind of fails you a little bit, that's got to be tough to keep moving and trust the next person. Yeah. Like, how do you know that they got it wrong once? How do you know they're not getting it wrong again? Like, how do you process that?
I just honestly keep pushing. I'm that squeaky wheel that will not be quiet. Like, I don't care who it is. I will keep pushing for him no matter what it is. And eventually I get the answers that I know he needs, or I get the help that he needs. Because
And
I
we
mean,
took it
if
upon ourselves to read a lot, and Marissa would always be here on her phone and about every symptom or every effect of the medicines she can tell you, because she's trying to be a
Become an
neurologist
expert
in a
really
year.
quick.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and otherwise we didn't know what to trust.
if I don't advocate for him, who's going to, you know? Like,
Right.
he's just going to fall through the cracks of the medical system, and that's
Yeah.
not okay with me.
Yeah.
He deserves the best, and I won't stop fighting until he gets what he deserves.
Outside of each other, what would you say is the most significant source of support that you guys rely on when things are tough?
For me, probably nursing, just because they are here 5 days a week. And so if I'm at my wit's end, because I can do basically everything he needs, but if I'm at my wit's end or I'm just at a loss, I rely on nursing to kind of help me out.
They give you that boost that you need to? Are they?
Kind of just that confidence that I need, or just the
That you
reassurance,
can do
like,
this.
yes, you're right, something is wrong, or yes, what you're doing is
Yeah,
okay.
likewise, especially with the pandemic, so we can't really get help from our family to come inside, and my parents are teachers, and so yeah, nursing is a big relief.
Did you get to
when
keep
you
that
need to
during
sleep
COVID?
in the daytime for a little while, or even just to trust somebody to give him his medicines and be able to just go breathe for a little bit. They're really diligent. They work really hard, and we appreciate them.
Yeah.
They've dealt with things on all different spectrums when it comes to patients and their needs. So I think we do rely pretty heavily on nursing, because it is helpful, and it does allow me to work while still being home, and not have to worry, like, is he going to be okay? Whoever's watching him, are they going to know what to do?
And our parents and our siblings are always there for us. They bring us food, and when we can't leave the house, we want to stay right by them. They'll bring us meals or cook us meals, and they'll call us. They'll pray for us and give us, give us their love and attention, and that always helps a lot, because sometimes it feels like we're just here on this island,
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of on your own. Yeah. I'm going to shift gears just for a second, and you're getting to cuddle with this dude now. What is it like to be his dad, and what does he do? What about him puts the biggest smile on your face?
He's just like my hero, He's like the toughest kid I've ever, or person, and it just makes me so proud to see him persevere and be resilient. And of all the dreams I ever had for my children, I never thought I would have one this strong. And that just every time I see him, I'm just so proud of him.
What have you learned from him?
He's taught me how to be more diligent, and just tiny details, because of all the things we have to do for him every day, but also how to have a soft heart for all kinds of different children and people, and understanding how beautiful one soul can be without being able to fully express what you feel,
That's beautiful.
and trying to learn what he feels and what he wants, because there's kids all over the place that they don't receive that love,
Mom, what about you? What have you learned from him?
He's taught me how to be strong and how to advocate. 'Cause I'm typically a shy person. So he's taught me how to really come out of my shell and just, it sounds cliche, but how not to let a bad day ruin my entire mood. Because he can have the worst day ever. 5 minutes later, he'll be smiling. It's like, if he can go through that kind of stuff, why can't I?
Yeah.
He can be having the worst seizure, not breathing blue for 3 minutes, sleep it off, and then he's back to normal, like nothing even happened. So he's taught me how to be strong and how to just persevere through hardships and not let them get me down. Because I do have a tendency to let my depression just take a hold of me. But I mean, just looking at him, it helps me change that viewpoint. Like, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay, because everything always is okay.
And how do you, how do you manage the depression in constantly changing situations?
It honestly is hard. I still haven't gotten a handle on it, because, I mean, he's considered terminally ill just because of the rare disease. So, I mean, it's hard to come to terms with that when you have a child like that. And, like, for me, it's really hard because whenever he has those bad seizures, I never know if it's going to be his last one. So it's just really hard, but I look to him and it just makes everything better. Yeah. He just helps fix everything and makes everything 1,000 times better. Yeah, it's true. Just cuddling him or holding his hand, he melts me completely.
He has great eyelashes.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think that's something that's talked about a whole lot in our interviews in the rare medical world, is just parents' mental health and how important that is too.
It's definitely
that's something
important.
that you're always so concerned about the child.
But never the parents.
Yeah, you have to take a step back and
I do have a therapist that I see weekly. It does help.
That's good.
But I mean, when you're parenting a child with such severe needs, complex needs,
your needs kind of go out
the
window.
It's like you forget who you are as a person just because you don't really have time to worry about yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, I have to be healthy and strong for him, but he's always my first priority and concern. But he just really is the biggest blessing in our life. He's just changed everything for the better. And
what would you tell yourself if you could tell yourself something from the moment you realized you were going to be on this journey?
If I could tell myself something, it would probably be that everything's going to be okay, even if it's not. Things will still be okay, and we're just going to continue braving the unknown, because that's what we're doing. I mean, a lot of it's unknown with him, because he does have a few rare diagnoses. So we'll get through it. We always do. We always find a way to prosper and get through it all. And it just makes our love and our bond stronger and our faith stronger.
You mentioned earlier advocating for him and how that's like the top priority. I'm curious how that word, I'm sure when you started on this journey, you probably knew the definition of the word, but it probably didn't have much meaning to you. And I'm wondering, how has that word grown in your vocabulary and in your mind and in meaning over the years?
So it really didn't mean anything to me at first. I mean, because I was just a typical person, going to work, going to school, no cares, no worries. And then when we found out after he was born, that he had so many severe needs, I kind of had to shift gears pretty quickly to make sure he got everything he needed. And now it's like a common word in my vocabulary now, just because I am advocating for him pretty much every single week. Yeah. I am on the phone constantly with all of his providers, pharmacists, insurance, constantly fighting and advocating for him to get him what he needs.
How many mistakes they make over there for what they're doing. They shouldn't. They should be upheld to a better standard to not make those type of mistakes with children's medications.
I shouldn't have to advocate as hard as I do, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, that's the world we live in, and you have to just
push through.
Yeah, it's their responsibility.
Yeah.
And I just make sure I get everything done for him, because his health and quality of life is the most important thing to us.
Yeah.
And even just advocating for rare diseases and what it means to be a child with complex needs and raising a child with complex needs. A lot of people don't understand, just like I never knew what it was like until we had him. Because a lot of people do say, oh, he's sick. They just write it off like that instead of saying, no, he's not sick. Actually, he's really healthy. He just has a lot of rare diseases that can affect him sometimes, but he's very healthy given everything going on. He's not sick. You can't just generalize it to he's sick.
Yeah.
Does he have seizures every day?
He does, multiple times a day. So every time he falls asleep from a nap and wakes up, he'll have a seizure.
How often are those the big 3-minute blue seizures?
They were pretty rare for a while, and then I don't know why, just the past 2 weeks they really amped up.
That he just needed to get boosted in his meds, but so he's kind of chilling out a little bit now. But that we're really worried the last couple weeks because it was just maybe like 2 or 3 a day for a long time, and we thought we were losing him kind of. So we're really happy lately. So
You guys were able to just adjust his meds, and hopefully that will help. Is that what you guys did?
yeah, and just constant communication with the nurses and doctors in Denver, and
I was calling him at least 5 times a day while he was going through that, just trying to get answers and trying to get the help that he needed, because the plan they originally had just was not a good plan for him. So that's where the advocation comes in, is I was just calling and calling and calling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave them alone until I knew and felt that the plan was a good plan for him.
because it's difficult because they don't have the specialists here so close. So it's like we have tons of equipment, so we feel like we can just take care of him better, sort of. And Denver also agrees with that, and so we just stay in communication with them, and hopefully that works out. If not, we would just probably pack up to ER and then maybe fly out or something. That's usually what we do.
Anything can trigger seizures, so temperature change, if he's sick, if he doesn't get sleep, if he gets too much sleep, if he's constipated, med changes, literally anything can trigger him. So it's just trying to find that balance. I mean, when he was going through that rough period a couple of weeks ago, the weather was constantly changing. So it'd be really sunny and hot, and then it would snow the next day. Sunny again, or be raining or overcast. So it just really affected him. Yeah. Sometimes we get 4 seasons in one day here.
Yeah.
So all of that affects him too.
Have you been able to connect with other parents that are on rare medical journeys? And if so, what have those connections meant to you?
I have actually Jennifer Matthews. You guys shouted love for Jesus. I think back in August.
Yeah.
So I made a connection with her through an LGS group on Facebook.
Oh, great.
And we talk every once in a while, and it's just been really nice to have another person besides Stevon that understands what we're going through.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not the exact same journey, they still understand. So it's been really nice to just kind of have that if I need it. But I mean, he understands. So
and we'll connect you with all the Go Shout Love moms. So they're awesome women to talk to.
They get it. They understand.
Do. And they also let you just have those moments of just rawness where you can just have a moment that you know you need, but you can't necessarily say to people who aren't on the journey.
And I feel like that a lot. I know people's intentions, they mean well, but I mean, it just gets kind of tiring to just hear like, oh, well, we'll pray about it. We'll leave it in God's hands. Yeah. And it's like, okay, thank you, but that's not fixing anything right now.
Yeah.
I just need to vent to someone.
Yep.
Even if it is being negative, I just need to get that off my chest, which a lot of people don't understand.
And it's just nice sometimes to hear someone validate
how I feel,
your struggle, and how hard this is. It's really hard. It has its good, beautiful moments, but
a lot of people don't understand unless you live that life. Just like with me, I'm sure if I had a family member that was going through this issue, I wouldn't really know what to say or how to go about it because I don't understand. I'm not living that life. But even just saying like, hey, could we bring by dinner for you? Sure, that's helpful. Like, not asking us what can we do is not really helpful because I personally don't like to ask for help. That's just, I've never been that type of person. But if somebody says, we're going to take you dinner.
It's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah.
And so instead of asking, just doing it.
Do it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What you
If
can
I knew
freaking
what
do,
you could
bro.
do.
Like, I don't know. God.
If I knew what you could do,
If I did know,
would have
we would
already
have
been
it.
doing
Yeah, we would be doing it.
Let me figure that out, and then.
But if you want to bring by a meal, that's fine.
I think there's also like certain people that's their gift. where they like, and I'll admit I'm not great at this, but there are certain people that just like, instead of asking what can I do, they just recognize here's a really easy, tangible thing that they won't ask for, but I know they'll benefit from, and I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And those acts of kindness and love is, it's like the idea that someone just stepped in and met a need without having to be asked, or I think it just means a lot more too.
Exactly. Even just like cards for DoorDash or Fetch.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because I mean, when he's not doing well, I take off work, and then there goes the income for the week from me.
Yeah.
He still goes to work because he knows that we need to pay bills somehow. But it's like even just doing something like that, so I don't have to worry about cooking after a stressful day or a hard day, because that's the last thing on my mind.
Sometimes we don't have a choice. Like last week, I think I only worked like half a week, twice, 2 weeks, and just I can't even work.
What do you do?
It's like work. I'm like this at work. I might as well go home and just sit with him. You know what I mean? Because it's not healthy for me either to not be with the person I care about when he needs me, and just be like, we can find provisions, and we are smart about what we do with our income. So I don't like to put everything we should be worrying about on income when this is what really matters. We can figure it out.
Yeah.
That's right. What have you learned about Stevon through this journey?
I've definitely seen a lot of growth in him.
And you guys are so young, so you're still going through all of the things too.
Yeah, he's going to be 30 now in July, and I'll be 29 in September. So we've been through a lot just in the past
in your 20s,
5-6 years. But I've seen a lot of growth in him as a person and as a dad. I know it was hard for both of us at first when he was diagnosed, because it's kind of like it's just a big platter put on you, and you just have to get it done. I know it's taken us both some time to try and like figure out the groove of things, but I've seen a lot of growth in him and how he's improved that, and just the way he is with Elijah just totally lights up. I mean, sometimes I feel like Elijah gets sick of me because he's with me 24/7. So when he sees his dad, it's like, oh, a breath of fresh air. Finally, have someone to wrestle with and be silly with and just play with. And even just his knowledge has grown a lot too, regarding everything with Elijah. I mean, it is a lot to learn and to have to be good at right off the bat. I mean, we don't have trials here.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, you have to know what to do in that instant. There's no practice runs, nothing.
There's no medical school for you to go to all of a sudden. And
you have to just learn what to do. And
you dive in.
He's really good at just being quick at things when we need to act quickly for him.
Stevon, Marissa was saying that sometimes it's just healthy to vent. And as partner in this, I know, at least for me, I sometimes initially want to jump to when my wife has those things, I want to jump into fix mode and like, how do I make it better? Yeah, I do that all the time. How do you figure out when is the right time to try to fix versus just listen and allow the venting to happen and just like sit with her in the struggle, if that makes sense?
I'd learned to gauge the degree of what's going on, how serious it is. So sometimes she'll call me on the phone and start telling me about things she's really mad about, like with the insurance.
Like yesterday.
And I'll be like, all right, babe, well, yeah. And she's like, I'm not, okay, I don't want to, I'm just telling you. But when we have something really serious go on, then I'll, then like I said, just like others' words, my words aren't going to help. So it's just me being there. If you want me to just sit next to you and be sad, then I'll be sad too with you. Or we just sit in silence and be sad, and that's fine. As long as we have somebody to go through it with.
He's really good at reading my cues. He'll know when I'm not going to cook. Like, I don't even have to tell him. He'll just say, I'm getting dinner. Or he'll bring me flowers because he knows I've had a hard day. So he's really good at reading my cues. Yesterday I did have to tell him, like, I just want to vent to you about how mad I am. And he said, okay, sorry. Like, I didn't get that, sorry. Because he was trying to be positive and get me out of that mindset. But I just wanted to be negative because I was so mad.
I need you to sit with me in this moment and tell
Be
me,
mad
yes,
with me.
this sucks.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's good at reading them most of the time, and if I need to tell him, he'll listen and he understands. He's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that type of moment. Sorry.
I do that for myself, so I just project on it when I do that too. It's like I'm trying to positively affirm things all the time and get the better outlook of how things are going to be. Otherwise, I'm going to go down the hole. Every time I'll follow that hole, and then I'll be there for like 4 days or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just a slump. So I got to stay up on the up and up.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's very normal relationship things. Everybody goes through that. But I think in your situation where you have, all the complexities and giving Elijah the best care possible, it just adds to that level of stress that amplifies those moments. And so, I'm sure you guys have to be extra careful and extra dedicated to being what the other one needs at that moment, at least trying your best to do that.
Yeah, and take turns too. One can save face for Elijah for like 4 hours, and then we'll switch and go be sad for a while, and then tough it out for 4 hours. And we're very thankful to have each other because we know a lot of people do it alone.
What do you wish that you guys could tell families or your friends about? How do we word this? What do you wish they understood about families on rare medical journeys? Anything specific that you wished you could just tell them?
That you are chosen for this, and nobody can do it but you. And that's what makes you so wonderful and a blessing to your child. And nobody else in this world could have had this job, and be proud of it.
Be proud of it. That's I love that. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you. I would just tell him you can do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to last forever. And that it's okay to feel everything you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of times feelings are not validated. We're expected to be positive all the time. And it's like, to me, that's not okay because things are hard. Everything's not rainbows and butterflies and flowers.
Yeah.
There are hard things, but you can do them. It's okay to do them and not be happy or smiling. You can breathe a sigh of relief afterwards, of course, but it's okay. And you can feel sad, upset, angry, any negative feeling you want to feel. It's okay because that comes with this job and this lifestyle.
And that doesn't mean you're not happy. It means you're doing your job.
And you can overcome it. And no matter how bad you think it hurts, you can do it. You can bust straight through it and go back and smile for them because they deserve it.
You will get through it at the end of the day, and it's okay. You don't have to hide those feelings. Because even I struggle with that sometimes with family and friends, just trying to be so positive. It's like, no, it's okay that they see me vulnerable and upset because that's
human.
the reality.
You're human. Yeah,
it's not all smiles all the time. It's really not. And they need to see that and realize that maybe to understand what it's like so they can empathize. So we never want pity at all. We just want people to understand. You guys have a lot of people
that love you. You guys are one of our most heavily nominated families.
Thank you.
We had a lot of people nominate this sweet boy.
You are definitely so loved.
Awesome.
Everyone that meets him just instantly falls in love with him. He's just so easy to
It's the dark eyes, I'm telling you.
What are the characteristics, or like what do they use to describe him when they meet him?
That he's an old soul. He has the funniest little attitude. He's just so smart and brilliant, and he lights up a room. He really does. Like,
his big pretty eyes, they change color. Sometimes they're hazel, and sometimes they're gold, sometimes they're gray.
And what's your nurse's name?
Janelle.
Janelle, what do you think about these two parents? You're with them all the time, right?
A lot of the time, yes. I used to be with them more, but I'm with them a lot now. They are amazing, and they take care of him so well. Mom is seriously, I'm sitting there with him, and I was like, we got someone to lean on them. I always kind of pick jokingly because she's on the phone with the insurance or the pharmacy or any of those type of things all the time. And it's frustrating. I get frustrated, and it's not even me. So, but they do a great job. He stepped up when she had COVID. He really stepped it up, and he had to be full-time all the time, suddenly.
Oh.
So supporting, and then it's like, okay, us trying to communicate, it's like, he needs this and this, but I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, she and I can communicate without talking sometimes.
Yeah,
If something's going
understand
on
that.
with him, we don't have to talk.
And then it was you and Dad
Each go to like, Dad, I'm like, hold on, we need to do this and this, and we need to do that. So
But he was basically just
he
thrown
was
into it
thrown into the whole
because,
thing, so.
I mean, I'm home all the time, so I do most of it because he does work and
Were
he
you
works
quarantined
hard.
in your room?
I was quarantined in the back room, so I was still in the house. I just could not come in here and do
That had to be
anything.
very hard for you.
It was really, really hard because I'm used to just like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that, delegating stuff, you know, because I've always done that for him.
And you
And
probably needed to rest, but the
I
stress.
was not
you couldn't
resting
rest.
back there.
Yeah.
I was just so worried. I knew he
I
had
told
it
her,
under
I was like, you
control.
need to take a few more days. It's alright. I was like, I don't want to go back to work that much. But
He had it, and she would text me and ask me, how's he doing? Did this go on? Does he have enough of this? We're checking, like, I'm trying to check pills for refills.
Yeah.
And texting her saying, hey, it's got this and this and this. How about those? And she's like, well, can you call these in? I'm like, sure. And then she'd ask about him. She's like, does he need diapers? I'm like, I don't know. Let me check. Because usually she sees it. And
Right.
it's just an automatic, shorters the diaper, shorters the weights, everything else. And I'm
Or
like,
the supplies, medical supplies,
everything, medical supplies. And I'm
medications.
like, I can't find whatever. Do you know where it is?
Yeah.
And I come to the part usually she does. And I was like, no. Wait. Crap, what are we going to do? And I was like, have you seen this? It's like,
So it was just really hard for
It
me
was-
being back there. I
it
knew they
was
had it under
different.
control,
He
and
did,
I
it
know
was
he would
just-
do well. But it was just hard because I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm throwing you
Here.
into it. Just
Figure it out.
And yet,
no life
fine.
jacket, nothing. Just sorry.
and yet, here you are. That too,
Mhm.
you got,
You got through it.
I honestly miss that all the time, even though I don't miss not having her. I miss like just
Getting
being
a
here
long
with him for
time.
like days and just hitting here with him, hanging out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun to hang out with him
So,
when he's
Alone.
too.
he's cool.
He's, yeah.
And she could probably tell you about her first impressions with meeting Elijah,
Oh.
because
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't the nicest. We did have a bad nurse
Yeah,
nurse
go for it.
experience, so I was very skeptical about a new nurse coming in.
Oh, boy.
But even when she met him, she just said she completely melted
I
just
did. I
seeing
was
him.
like, oh my god. And I started talking to him, and he just looked at me like, and he looks at her like, hey, this is a nurse. We're not okay with nurses, are we? So I did when I saw him, and he looks at me. I completely melted, and they told me, you're going to fall in love with him the second you see him, and I did.
And how long have you been his nurse now?
4 years in June.
Wow.
I'm the longest running one.
He's
don't
been
bail.
through 10
The
nurses.
only bail, yeah, they've been through a lot. The only bailing I know is help them get the water out of the boat, not jumping out.
Hmm.
But yeah, he likes me, but he pretends sometimes like he doesn't. Sometimes he's over me by like noon, but it's only if he's not for the crazy jumping up and down like I was trying to get into small pictures. But he is fun when he is being silly, and he can be sassy and all heck, which is a really awesome part of his personality, and it is really fun. Especially when she can hear him sometimes. He'll just yell at me. She hears him. She's working back there. She's like, "What is going on?" Or if I'm after this bath a couple of times, he'll be saying something, and I'll say something back, and she goes in there. Says, "Shanil, Elijah, quit fighting, behave," because we're going back and forth. But it's a lot of fun with that, especially if he's feeling well.
Yeah.
It's a real treat when he's
It
feeling
is when
well.
he talks. Oh, it's the best.
When he
Yeah.
smiles, because
No.
seizures,
Yeah.
they've done a lot of damage, so they've taken a lot of things away from him. He used to eat by mouth, and now he can't do it because of the seizures, and it kind of took away his smile. When he smiles, it brings tears to my eyes because it's just the best thing in the world. I mean, you never realize that you should appreciate the small things until
Absolutely.
Yeah.
they're gone.
Like we said, the majority of his wake ups from sleep are with a seizure of some sort. So when he wakes up with that one, he gets this huge grin, and he's like looking around, and he's like,
He did that
"What's
this-
going on here?" And we're like, "What's up, dude?" We're all happy. We're all crying. We're happy he didn't have a seizure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he gets this
It's
huge
worthy of
grin.
celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Since we look at him like what are you doing? First, she and I will get, you wake up with a seizure, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's wrong? I was like, I told her I never thought that would be non-normal to me.
And then I guess another thing, now that I think about it, that I would tell other parents on the same journey is just to appreciate the small things, the small wins. May not seem like much, but just that small step in the right direction is a huge step for them. Like even just having him wiggle his fingers, he could never do that before. And it might not be big to any other person that doesn't have a child with severe needs, but to us it's huge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like last year, he was wearing a back brace and was sitting up almost unassisted, and I just could not stop crying. Like it might not seem huge to other people, but to me it was just the biggest, best thing in the whole world.
Yeah, that's a struggle we have too with some of his teachers or some therapists he has, is they don't understand how to help him or to see progress, and they're like, say apple, and we're just like, you know what I mean? And they're just like, apple, and then we're like, you're not targeting anything towards him. You're not even thinking before you go to work about how to educate this kid. You know what I mean? Like, so it's difficult to find people who have that awareness, you know, because that's knowledge, is awareness, understanding what's out there.
At Go Shout Love, we do amazing things for amazing families with kids on rare medical journeys. Each month we shout love for families through the sale of creative apparel inspired by the kids. This month's Courageously Into the Unknown design is inspired by Elijah, a brave son who loves the ocean. Every purchase in May will be used to help the family build incredible moments through a bucket list trip with Elijah. Visit our website at goshout.love to support Elijah through the purchase of a t-shirt, hat, tank top, hoodie, tumbler, or other items. Thank you for listening. We have some more incredible episodes coming up, some great families to feature. Please rate and review this podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Go to our website, shop around a little, and stay tuned next time as we continue to Go Shout Love.